Hey guys, Tim with PT Progress here, and excuse me as I rant a little bit. I'm not trying to target you personally, I'm not trying to trigger anyone. If you're watching this, I don't know if you're in management or you're a PT or you're a student or an educator, but something needs to be said. Why is it that when revenue is down within a clinic or reimbursement gets cut, the first thing that we look at, the very first action item that we inspect is productivity? Looks like revenue is down. Our therapists aren't producing as much per hour. That's really affecting our bottom line. We should probably do one of two things: cut their hours to save money or increase their productivity. Especially since these proposed reimbursement cuts are about to happen. Yeah, I think we'll do just that. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? I hope you see the problem with this too. If it sounds far-fetched, I promise you that it's not. It's happening in clinics all over the country, and I just saw it firsthand in a clinic just this past week. Now, this is not a call to laziness among PTs, okay? This is not about me or other physical therapists complaining that they're being overworked, all right? This is a call to question how you're interpreting the data. How do you plan to approach the proposed Medicare reimbursement cuts or any other cuts that happen on a regular basis among insurance companies? Because as clinics all over the country start to feel their profit margins slimming down, there's no question that trying to work as lean as possible, that can be a really smart approach. But haven't we already been trying to meet high productivity standards for a long time? Have PTs not been scrutinized for years and years about their billable units per hour? Of course we have. And unfortunately, the blame usually just falls on the physical therapist, even though there are other factors, other critical factors that are just blatantly ignored. And I'll tell you this, if this is happening in your clinic right now, this is a surefire way to burn out your clinicians. And I get it, PTs need to produce revenue. This is not a volunteer organization, but it's time that we start looking at the things we can control and stop putting the blame on physical therapists when their productivity is shot because patient volume isn't there, or cancellations happen outside of the therapist's control, or poor staffing issues cause bottlenecks and force physical therapists to wear the hat of the scheduler, the physical therapist, the tech for every patient while trying to bill as many units per hour as possible because they aren't meeting their numbers. Putting tighter restrictions on productivity or doubling patient volume for each hour may look great on paper or in a factory, but it's time that we make some actual changes in the clinic instead of defaulting to this idea that we can just tighten up productivity standards and all will be good. Before you start slashing hours and increasing productivity requirements, I want to ask you a few questions. Are you doing enough marketing? Are you running ads on social media or Google just to make sure that you have a steady flow of incoming patients? Are you helping your therapist become more efficient with their documentation by giving them resources that they need to learn how to write better? These things aren't hard to learn, and if you have office managers in the clinic not producing any units, maybe they need to spend a few hours in an afternoon figuring out how to run Facebook ads or Google ads so that we can address those patient volume issues by bringing in more patients. And excuse me, but maybe the director of rehabilitation for your hospital group or your therapy group can run one less report each month and learn how Facebook ads work. If that seems like too much money to spend $100 a day on Facebook or Google ads, my question is, why are you spending $300 to $400 a day on a director of rehab whose best ideas are to simply increase productivity or to cut hours? Let me ask you this, are you running an efficient schedule? Did you realize that a 40-minute one-on-one schedule allows you to achieve 12.5% more in units based on the 8-minute rule as compared to running patients every hour or even every half an hour? A 40-minute treatment reimburses at 3 units for Medicare, and in a 2-hour window, you have 3 40-minute blocks, netting you 9 billable units, while trying to book a 30 or 60-minute visit over that same 2-hour window yields only 8 units, a 12.5% difference. What would your clinic look like with a 12.5% increase in revenue because it's sitting right in front of you here? Or how about this? Are you encouraging or supporting the correct use of CPT codes in the clinic? One of the ways that I cut down my documentation time by an hour a day while also increasing my average revenue per unit billed was by using documentation templates that helped me to craft faster documentation that actually reflected the skilled treatment that I was providing in the clinic. I encourage everyone to make their own documentation templates and quick cheat sheets like I did. And if you don't have time to do that right now, you can see mine in the description below because it will save you a ton of time and a ton of money. Or let me ask you this, do you have a reminder system that sends a message to your patients on a weekly basis to remind them of their appointments? And is there a support staff available at critical times to help schedule or to prep rooms to keep that traffic flowing? And if not, Are you okay with one less unit of productivity every few hours as the physical therapist stretches to try to manage all of those different tasks in the clinic themselves? Look, there's not a magic wand that we can use to fix the issue of clinicians feeling burnt out because they feel like they're a commodity or a human version of a machine in a factory pumping out billable units to maintain their productivity each week. But what you can do in the clinic is to focus on the data that matters, like how many impressions are we getting on our clinic ads and what's the conversion rate like? Or can we reduce that cancellation rate with reminder calls and texts, because it's a lot easier to keep a patient than it is to get a new evaluation through the door. Or we can look at holes in our schedule and come up with a more efficient way to see patients throughout the day, like using that 40-minute scheduling system I talked about earlier. And if you're that PT who's feeling burnt out and just tired of the weekly productivity comparison contest that really doesn't make any sense, I feel for you, and I hope that you find success by making some of these recommendations to help track metrics that actually make sense and actually do something to grow the bottom line, not just pass the blame onto physical therapists because they're not being productive enough. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you could do me a favor, be sure to give this video a like so that more PT clinics can see why they need to change their approach and to stop treating PTs as a commodity. Hey, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.